Welcome to Ask Wynn, everyone. And, okay, you well know by now, I am 30% done with my journalism degree. I will be 45% done by August with my journalism degree because starting next week, I am going back to school to take a summer English class by my choice. Let's emphasize that was my choice to take my summer English class. But I don't know if you know that I started this route of being a published author with my first book, I Come a Win. Then I got involved in anthologies with Carla Hall, and she is speaking with me today. And of course, we have a new format in season 7 where I'll be asking people 4 baseline questions, and then I'm going to let them play interviewer on me. And of course, it can be open-ended. And then at the first of the month, I'll be answering questions related to CP because, as you guys know, I use my gift of cerebral palsy. I don't use it as a weapon against people. I don't use it as a weapon against myself. I use it more as a gift. So the first of the month, you people can ask me questions about CP, but the rest of these interviews, you people have to come up with different questions because, quite frankly, I'm sick of talking about CP and how it affects me. But enough of my programming announcement. Let's kick the new format off with Carla Hall. And my first question is, please explain more of what you are doing now and more of what you did and how we connected.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much for doing what you do. I'm totally in awe of the amount of work that you've put into this podcast. And I've had so many people ask me if I know about any podcasts that are, worth listening to. This is the first one that I send them to. But as far as what I'm doing now and what I've been doing, I have to say that my life has totally transformed over the last year at least. So you and I met online on Facebook when you were starting to write. I think you just had published I Win, and you just were starting to write your novel series, and you were constantly posting about indie authorship, and I had no idea what that meant. So that's kind of how you and I met, and then we wrote together in a couple of anthologies, which those are just big books with more than one chapter, where like a chicken soup for the soul kind of thing, where people contribute their stories. That was another way that we worked together, and we've worked together on this podcast. What I'm doing today is different than what I've ever done before. So I've shifted all of my focus on focusing on people who have big dreams but are underserved by their community. And the reason why this new fire has been lit up under me is because since February, I've been back in the lives of my grandchildren. And as you know, I was separated from them for a long time. And that caused me to have this relentless heartbreak that I couldn't shake no matter what. So being back in their lives has sparked creativity in me. Now I'm ready to really give back to a community that's underserved, and that's a community of dreamers. There's so many people out there who have great, big, wonderful stories, and they have big dreams, and they just need a tribe of people to support them. So my new book that I'm writing, this will be my 6th published book, is called The Wisdom of Dreamkeeping. And it talks about the wisdom that we learn over the years. And you have been a big proponent of the word wisdom in your different things over the years. But as I start to think about what it is that I do best, I have this plethora of wisdom that's in my soul that I've kind of collected over the years. So what I'm doing now is and I wasn't going to say so much, it just seems like it's just a thing that people do when they're being interviewed. What I'm doing now is I'm focusing on the dreamers of the world. And as I'm writing my book, I'm putting the chapters up inside of this group. I want everybody to look at each chapter as I finish it so I can get feedback from the public before my book is ever finished. That way I'll know what they want to read, and I'll know what they want to experience when they have my book in their hands. And to celebrate that, I'll open up yet another compilation. This time it's 100% free. And if I have to, I'll make different volumes. But it's going to be just 1,000-word short stories from people who have a dream. And I'm going to ask them to tell me their dream in 1,000 words after that book will be published as a published book.
And you guys, you know, I'm going to, in this book, in this dream book, because I have dreams, and being a journalist is one of my dreams, which I'm accomplishing. So even though I started with I Come a Win, I Come a Win did so successfully well that I thought, hey, what the heck, why not put my story in anthologies with a bunch of other people. I did 20 Beautiful Women with Sabatakis. She's now out of LA. She was out of Seattle, Washington at the time. I did Empowered Women of Social Media with Colin Hall, and you guys can find that all on Amazon. They're still up. They're still available, but I think that if you are scared to write your own story, I think that anthologies are a wonderful way to do it, because you only have to do a small amount of work, depending on the one count, of course. But then the anthology, as that's the right one call, you walk away, they do all the work, and they give you a published book, and then you can say I was a part of a book, or you can publish your own book. I did it ass backwards. I actually wrote my first book, didn't even know about anthologies, but if I was going to do it all over again, I would do anthologies first and then publish my own book, because anthologies kind of dip your toe into having a published book and being a public figure and being a public figure. So, Carla, what has been your biggest achievement in life, and what's your biggest achievement, what's your biggest life lesson?
Well, I would say that my biggest achievement absolutely is being a published author. Like you said, before I knew about anthologies, it's when I first met you on Facebook, and I figured out that there was such a thing as self-publishing. So my biggest achievement is that if you look at my Amazon Author Central profile, you'll see it's full of books. I probably have more books on my profile than anybody that I know, because I jumped into self-publishing with both feet. I got my toe in the water, just like you said, but I got my toe in the water through first publishing my own book exactly like you did, and then I went into anthologies exactly like you did. So that is my greatest achievement, that I can take a book, take it from the idea, get the stories in, work with the mindset and the emotions of the women, and get them to allow their story to be published. Because many of the stories that came through the anthologies were very hard stories of abuse and abandonment, neglect, and emotional issues. I really had to step into the role of a life coach before I even knew what I was doing, because so many women would have that emotional breakdown as they were releasing their story that no one had ever known. And so my life lesson is that right there. Right now, for the last 2 years, I've been heavily studying emotional intelligence and, tuning into people's behavior. I'm almost certified in cognitive behavioral therapy, and I'll have my certificate in that very soon. But the lesson that I've had to learn is that you have to tune into people's emotions. You have to understand what they are going through as you're asking them to write a story. Sometimes they won't tell you. That's why you have to use emotional intelligence. That's an area and a field of study that really impacts the human dynamic of any relationship. And so the biggest mistake I made with those books, which now feature over 2,000 different women all over the world, from all the way back from 2014, is that you have to understand what they're going through. There are things that they're not going to tell you, and you have to be in tune to that. Facebook is a perfect way to find out. You can go to their profile, if every other post says, I'm so sad, I'm going through divorce, something like that, you have to be in tune with that, because if not, the women just won't write. They'll just like put it off and not do it. So my life lesson is that you have to use emotional intelligence. You have to be in tune with the people that you're working with, and you have to learn compassion, empathy, and acceptance of everybody's journey if you're going to succeed. And so my life lesson started out sort of painful, and after I learned the lessons, I tweaked and tweaked and tweaked until I came up with a phenomenal system of the anthologies. Now they're not like they used to be. There's less interaction with me and more interaction with just the whole entire group. So instead of getting one-on-one, they just get group coaching, videos, trainings, and things like that inside of a group. So that's my life lesson. Everybody's emotions will show up one way or another.
Everyone, well, and you guys, if you do the anthology process or the single book process, you will learn how to take rejection nicely, because some people will leave the 3-star reviews on Amazon, and I know we don't like rejection. No one likes rejection, but if they leave it in the writing, it's there forever, and you can't delete it. That's why people have told me not to look at my own reviews. The experts say don't look at your own reviews on your book, and so I try not to look at the reviews on I Come a Win or any of my books, because sometimes people will say this wasn't my genre, I didn't like this book, but other times people will say, I love your story, you're such an inspiration, and go on and on. So
that's
you
true.
learn how to grow your emotions by being an author.
True. Absolutely true. I'm the first one to say that there's a couple of negative reviews on my books, and I laugh at it because it says it's an Amazon user, but there's no name, and I just laugh and think, you know what? I don't know who they are, but I bet they've never written a book on their own. So you're right. When you're an author, you have to understand that those Amazon reviews, you'll get a troll every now and then, but for the most part, if people see and they actually get in and read your book and your story, then they won't be able to leave a negative review. They just won't be able to. But that's something that as an author, you're right, you have to build that muscle so that you don't take that emotional hit from it.
And so many people just say, I want to write a book. I want to write a book. And you've probably heard this 1,000 times over, Carla, about people asking us, how do we do it? How do we do it? So now, with that question in Carla's head, I'm going to let her play interviewer on me and ask me a couple questions. And this is coming from a novel I wrote. I wrote that thing in 2014?
14 or 15,
15.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay, I'm ready.
Jeez.
I'm ready to ask you a question.
Ask what?
Okay, so we've heard a lot about your autobiography, your I Come a Win book that was a huge success. It got that story out of you. And then you went right into this different personality to write the novel that is a view from my series. It's a view from You've Got Different Things. It's a view from your first one was a view from my hills. I had the pleasure of reading that book, and let me tell you, I love it. Not only do I love it, but I shared it with my son and my husband because it just gets me into the story. My question is, how did you come up with the characters, and what did you want to achieve with this young adult novel series?
Well, I wanted to achieve that we're all diverse in some way or another, and I wanted to honestly quit focusing the spotlight on cerebral palsy and make a character who is less severe cerebral palsy than I do, and also make her BFF, which you quickly discover who's the BFF and who it's based off of, thank you very much, in that book, also had cerebral palsy because my BFF and I, in real life, had cerebral palsy. I am the opposite end of the spectrum of my BFF. My BFF, her name is Danielle. She's also my assistant in this podcast. You heard her speak, and she has severe cerebral palsy with a heavy speech impediment. I may have moderate cerebral palsy with a less heavy speech impediment. So I wanted to, in that novel, I wanted to not only shine a light on all disabilities, but shine a light on cerebral palsy, but do it in a tasteful manner. Do it in a tasteful manner and take the light off myself for a couple of seconds and then throw down to them, throw eating disorder, throw paralyzed person, throw marriage into this book. And so, yeah.
I know. That's what made it so real. It was like real life interaction in the novel. So my next question about this book is, when you are writing as an author with cerebral palsy and you do your Siri dictation, but you're doing a novel, I want to know the difference in writing a novel and writing an autobiography from the point of mindset. What mindset do you have to be in when you're writing stories about characters? Do you just like let it flow through you?
Yes. Now this will be the first time I admit this on the podcast. I am what they call a plotter. I am what they call a pantser, not a plotter. I don't plot anything else. Because I use Siri dictation, I can't plot anything else to save my life. So, I am a pantser, not a plotter. And so I just let these stories come through me. Right now I have a story from a view of a Kate Spade handbag. That's going to be women's fictions. That's at my ghostwriters right now. We're polishing that up. And I'm actually going to try and get an agent for that one. My Simply Dictation book will be coming out in September. I'm not allowed to speak about that one because my small publisher got mad at me and said, don't speak about that one until we have something to show, which I agreed with them. So I kind of have to shut up about that one. But other than that, I let the novels flow through me like this tomorrow, and I have ideas sitting on my iPad that have not been published, but will be eventually published.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll tell you, I know that I've actually read these books because I helped you review them and everything. I'll tell you what I like the most, and maybe you can put that into the new novels that you write. I like the way that you detail the emotions of the characters as they're going through them and their frustrations that they feel because they have the limitations, and then the love, and then the little baby comes along. I love how you make those characters so real. So just keep on doing that. The more expressive you are with what they do, what the characters are about, and how they're feeling, I think that just settles it. And I don't read novels, so you can understand that this was a big thing for me, and I couldn't put it down. So great job.
Well, thank you. And I also have a novel coming out from the point of the character with Down syndrome and her trying to achieve her dreams. She wants to be a fashion designer just like her father in the novel, and you'll figure that one out, why I decided. And that's what really inspired, writing this novel really inspired me to find a journalism program. Believe it or not, I held this secret as the novel came out. I'm like, one of these days I'm going to find a journalism program that I can actually get a journalism degree, because you guys thought I held it from doing a Conan Iron Man. No, I held that dream again while doing the Ironman, while seeing all that chaos. And yes, I said I am my ex-competitor in the Ironman, which for those of you that don't know what that is, that's a Olympic distance triathlon based in Kona, Hawaii. It's a huge deal just because of where it's placed and just because of the competitiveness of it. And so after I wrote the novel, I really wanted to get back into creative writing, even though my degree isn't an education degree. And so I am going with the journalism school, and I'm trying to decide whether to get my MFA or not. I applied for a program for my bachelor's and then move on to my MFA, but we'll see in the next couple of years whether that will work out in my favor or not. And if not, I will still have the associate degree in journalism.
Very good, very good. I think that was all that I have for you. Did you have anything else for me?
I want to know, where can people find you, and where can people get involved with this 1,000-word anthology? That one spot is taken by me, people, so don't take my spot. But where can people get involved with your work, and where can people get involved with this anthology? Because I want to support you. I always have, always will. I back you up, even though we had a little bit of haters out there. I think we both lost fans while doing these original anthologies. And so where can people find you, and how can they get involved with the work you're doing now?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm on Facebook as Carla Wynn Hall. All you have to do is type in my name there, and you'll see that my profile picture is white, and I have a little purple moon underneath me. Never mind. My profile picture I have on right now is a shirt that says Dream on. So you'll see me because you know my shirt has the word Dream on it. That's where you can find me most of all. You can also send an email to carla@dreamitanyway.com. That's my email address. You can find me on Twitter as Carla Wynn Hall, and LinkedIn as Carla Wynn Hall. The only profile that's different would be Instagram. It's Carla Wynn Hall 2018. So that one is a little bit different. And, of course, my website is carlawynnhall.com. I've thoroughly branded my name. But when you find me on Facebook, the group is called Dream Keepers and Unicorn Tears. There's a meaning behind this, and inside of that group is where we're building. The book name is called A Million Dreamers, Our Voices Matter, and it's going to be several volumes of free anthologies for dreamers, for people who have huge dreams. You and Danielle are so much of an inspiration to me because you've seriously shifted the DNA of cerebral palsy by changing things, like learning how to talk, learning how to walk. I saw Danielle riding her bicycle on the road on Facebook. That's so cool. But you two both have huge dreams, and you're realizing your dreams every day. I want to be able to pull up the people who have a dream, but they are sad because they feel like no one supports them. They are hopeful, but yet they stay hopeless. So what I want to do is put these people into books so they can write out their dream, give it some breath, give it some life, and do that through the art of writing. If anybody wants to participate and you do have a disabling condition where you cannot write, let me know, and I'll call you on the phone and we'll record it. Then I'll turn around and transcribe it for you. So if you're listening to this podcast and you need some help with the actual physical part of writing your story, just let me know, and we'll make sure that we get that taken care of one way or the other.
Or you guys can email me, and because I know I will be an integral part in setting up this anthology, or you guys can email me, and I'll get you in touch with Carla, and I'll forward the email on and say help, and because she's very good at translating stuff. Now, are you taking people that do not speak English? Because I know, well, this is going on in the news right now, and I hate to be political, but since it's going on in the news, I might as well, since we're talking about dreamers, I might as well mention it. For those of you who are not living on the rock, you know that parents are being separated from their kids at the Texas border and at the Los Angeles border and all this good stuff, and the kids are being sent in one direction, the parents are being sent in another. So, Carla, would you take, in your anthology, would you take people that English is not their native language? Because what I'm thinking is it would be cool to have a darker story in the anthology, or it would be cool to at least share some of the parents' stories that are going through separations of their kids.
Absolutely. As long, either way, if they send me a document and they've typed it in Spanish, I can translate it into English so that it can be printed that way. And I can also, I think that I can arrange to have Create Space actually publish it in English and Spanish. Either way, it doesn't matter what language they speak. If they can get the story to me, and you will make sure that it can get in there. So, yes, I can't understand what they say, but they'll have to type it, either type it out in Spanish or I can have an interpreter. I'm sure that I've got one or more interpreters on my list.
I have interpreters, actually, my aide, and she can help me. If people want to email me stories, too, and she can help me figure it out, and I can help you figure it out, too. We'll work on this together. But I was just...
That sounds like it would be an amazing idea to capture these stories right now as they're happening. Because these parents are heartbroken. I mean, it's important.
Yeah, it would be, and it's so important. I mean, to quote my dad, he said, I can't tell you how many times I cried yesterday being Father's Day, and yes, I'm a little bit later in wishing all the fathers out there happy Father's Day, but you guys won't hear this until Wednesday, but that's okay. That counts. But my dad said, I can't tell you the amount of times that he cried for this story, because this story that's going on in the news right now is heartbreaking. So I was just wondering if we can capture these stories.
Absolutely. If we can reach the parents, if we can reach them with the message, and they want to be part of it, everybody's welcome. This is a huge acceptance project. This is about eliminating all this, all these lines that divide us. This project is really a humanitarian project, and you can tell that I've changed because I didn't even put a penny price tag on it. I just want to get the stories out there and show people how powerful it is to write, to write something that weighs on your heart.
Yep, and this is how I got involved with anthologies, people. So as I said, I did it ass backwards. I wrote my first book, and then I got involved with anthologies. And Carla's first book is called The Paradigm for Success. I believe I got that title right. That book has been out since what, Carla?
2014. I think we both wrote our books the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started writing it put it like this. I started writing that book in 2011, and I did not have the courage to publish it until 2014. From 2014 until now, I've written 4 more books that have over 300 pages each in the last 4 years. So I've written a book every year since then. And after my sister was killed in 2016, I stopped everything and wrote my book that's called Untapped. And it's about how short of a time our souls actually get to experience this thing that we call life, because she was just 42 years old, just came out of drug rehab, and then she had a car wreck. So when you start to write, you're going to see that it's something that's very therapeutic, and it also improves your ability to write, which can be a money path for you later in the future for income. So these anthologies, they are written by several people. Like the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, believe it or not, is $11 billion valuated brand. And Jack Canfield just said, what if we just get people to tell their stories? And so this is what they're about. This new one, A Million Dreamers, this is going to be about releasing something from yourself, from your soul. So if we could get the DACA group together, we could do a whole volume on that if we have to. If we get a bunch of stories, we could just create one volume just for them.
Yes. Well, that's wonderful idea, and I'll do what I can to help all, because you may not think about this, but I'm heavily involved in the doctor community, because of my aid and because of, what she's had to go through. I won't share her story. I may invite her on the podcast one of these days, probably in July, to talk about resilience and bouncing back. She's got an interesting story as well. But I'm heavily involved in the doctor community, and this story that's going on in the news right now is just breaking my heart. It's breaking my heart as an author. It's breaking my heart as a teacher. I feel like these news reporters should give these guys a pen and paper and have them and write stories and have them translated. CNN, if you're listening, give these guys a pen and paper. That's what Carla and I want. And we can read chicken scratch, or we can help you guys type it up. And, So, seriously, if any local news reporters listening to this podcast and goes down to El Paso, Texas, I believe, where the parents are being separated from their children, start giving them pieces of paper. I mean, I was listening to the news the other day, and one of the innkeepers of the shelters said to the news anchor from MSNBC, smile at the kids so they don't feel like they're stuck in cages. I mean, this is a huge thing that we're trying to deal with, and we're just trying to get the stories out of people. That's all
Absolutely.
I'm trying to do. Yeah.
We've got a humanitarian crisis, Wynn, and there's no doubt about that. Hopefully it'll be over soon, but as far as all this media coverage, which I'm totally against it anyway, I think it violates the human rights of the children to even be broadcasting that. But together we can start raising our voices, as a unit and say these things they are not right. They're not right any way that you look at them, and it's going to cause a humanitarian crisis for this next couple of years.
This country. And and of course the president is not doing anything about it. He's not doing any celebrations down in El Paso. He's not doing any celebrations down where you are in Alabama. In Tennessee. And so this is going to be tough, but I'm hoping we can help these kids to write in. And I appreciate, Carla, you coming on. You sound wonderful. And let's spearhead this project together, and let's make this dream of book happen.
That sounds very good to me, Wynn. Thank you so much for having me on here. When the show does go live, I don't know where that'll be. I'm going to share it with everybody that I know.
You are so welcome, and thank you for being behind the scenes of this podcast. And we're trying out this new format. And if you guys don't like it, just unsubscribe from this podcast because I'm not changing back. My work is out there, and you guys know my story, but I think my story needs to be told more, and I think Carla's story needs to be told more, so she's accepting podcast interviews as well. Danielle is accepting podcast interviews as well. She can, Danielle can do it via iPad, and so you've heard the iPad speak on my podcast, but I want Danielle's story out there just as much as I want Carla's story, just as much as I want my story. So if you guys don't like this new format, which you guys will hear on Wednesday, just unsubscribe from this podcast because I'm not going back as a journalist. I feel like there's more important work to do in journalism than solidly interviewing people, and that's the way I feel, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm putting that out there publicly.
Well, you know what? I think this worked a lot better because as the guest, I did not get tired, and as the host, you didn't get tired, and so the time kind of just went by easily. I love it. I think it's a great format. I think you'll have more subscribes than you do unsubscribes. Watch and see.
Well, hopefully. So I tried this format, and we'll see you guys later. And if you want to be involved in the book, just email me or email Carla, and we'll have Carla's information in the show notes. Thanks, you guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.